is the quiz on the first half of the chapter 4. So anything dealing with an inequality and graphing an inequality will be on the quiz tomorrow. So we're going to go through, review those types of problems, especially ones that we did 2 weeks ago after the midterm exam. So I'd like you to see, take out the worksheet from yesterday, which was on Google Classroom. That was our graphing inequalities worksheet. There were 10 problems for you to do. And I thought we would just go through one together as a little review, a reminder. Half of them had 2 inequalities for you to graph, and half of them had 3 inequalities for you to graph. Is there one that you wanted to do together, or I'll just pick one? No. I would do number 10, do the last one. Then you have the last one done if you didn't get there. So if you want to look at the worksheet, look at number 10. Yesterday, we were graphing 3 different inequalities. 3 different shades here. The first inequality is done. We don't have to solve it, but let's solve the second one so that we have that by itself. So I would want to subtract x to the other side. And then when I do that, I just write it as y, it's an ugly y, greater than or equal to, and then negative x plus 3. So that's the new second inequality, just by taking the x to the other side. And then the third one, I would have to take, again, the x to the other side. So negative 2y less than negative 6x plus 10. Peyton, what do you have to do to solve that one to get y by itself then? Yeah, we got to divide by negative 2. So the negative 2's cancel. Peyton, when you divide by a negative number, what happens with our sign? It flips, and that's the trick. It's a good thing we went over this one. You got to remember that this sign, the last equation or inequality, is going to flip. And then I have negative 6 divided by negative 2, which is positive 3x. 10 divided by negative 2 is negative 5. So really, we are graphing this and that one. And then the original one, we didn't have to do anything to. Uh-oh. There we go. So 3 lines are going to be graphed. Line 1 says x is less than or equal to 5. So on my graph, I'm going to go to where x is 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Anytime it's x, it's a vertical line. Less than or equal to, Haley, solid vertical line or dotted vertical line? Solid. So solid, ooh, that's a little off. There we go, solid vertical line. And then less than means left. So when you have a vertical line, it's the only time you're shading left or you're shading right. Think less than is left of the line. So with my pretty purple, I'm shading everything to the left side of the line. It's a pretty big space. So less than left of the line, anytime it's vertical. All the other times we think above or below. Second inequality, we have in green here, negative x plus 3. So the first thing I'm starting with that plus 3, which means I move up to 3. And then negative x is my slope. Well, negative 1 is really in front of there. So I move down 1, right 1. I'm going to do that enough so that I can connect. Oops, that one's off. And I'm going to move up as well. Again, it says equal to. Y is greater than or equal to. So greater than or equal to means I need to connect these with a nice solid line. Chase, if it is greater than or equal to, greater than mean above or below the line? Above, yeah. So anytime that you have a line that is not vertical, then we always think above versus below. So I'm going to go to a point on the line and go in the above location. Once I find that location, you're following the entire line and you're giving yourself a boundary and then shading. So Mr. King yesterday had you kind of look to give yourself an idea of where this graph is going to have a solution. Where would it be located? And right now, the solution is going to be somewhere in that region because that's where both my purple and green are overlapping. But we have a third inequality to graph. But I know my answer needs to be in between these two lines right now. Everything else is not a solution. So whenever I graph that third line, my answer has to be in between those two. So the third line, we solved and got a -5 on the y-axis. And then we're moving up 3 and over 1. And again, we want to do that a couple of times. I can move down 3 and backwards 1 as well. This is the only one that says less than or equal to, so we get to make this a dashed line. And then less than means below. Greater than is above. So I'm going to go to a point on this line and go below that point on the line. And then I know I need to follow the whole line and go everywhere below. What shape should your final answer be? Jason, which shape will my final answer be once I darken it in? So it's going to be in this location right here. What shape does that look like? A triangle, yeah. So this area here that we're going to darken is a triangle. Whoa, that's way too big. Didn't need one that big. There we go. This area right here is where our solution, all 3 colors are overlapping. It's a triangle. And you should have found that in most times when we have 3 lines that overlap, you are going to get a triangle because it's in the middle of those 3 lines. Which 3 lines make a triangle? Any questions? So this was the homework from yesterday. Please make sure you get it submitted to Google Classroom at some point today. We are going to go to Google Classroom right now. And as I said, we're just going to work on the review worksheet. I'm going to do a couple of problems with you, but this is just a review for your quiz tomorrow. The quiz is more like a quest. It's 40 points. There's a lot of concepts that we talked about. So go to Google Classroom. I'll show you what it looks like. Actually, we'll see if it popped up for you yet. Not quite. All right, so in Google Classroom, it should be the first thing in your stream that you see. It should have just popped up. I just pulled it up for you. So find the worksheet, open it up, send it to Notability. Or Adobe, whatever app you use. And we are going to solve a couple of these together just to give you a refresher. But remember, this was 2 weeks ago that we started this chapter. And 2 weeks ago, the first thing we did was we solved a linear inequality that you graphed on a number line. So if you look, let's look at number 5. Number 5 is a compound inequality. Our goal is to get x by itself. So Peyton, if I look at number 5, right here is where x is in the middle. What would you do first to get x by itself? I'm on number 5. That's all right. Right, add 7. And when you add 7, you want to add 7 to each side of the inequality symbol. So add 7, add 7. So our 7s cancel in the middle, and we just have a negative 3x. And then I have 2 inequality symbols. Negative 7 plus 7 is 0 on the left. 2 plus 7 is 9 on the right. So we're starting in the middle. We're trying to get x by itself in the middle. So we added 7 to the other side. Chase, what would the next thing that we would want to do to get x by itself? Yeah, we're going to divide. Chase, what's 0 divided by negative 3? 0. Yeah. What happens when you divide by a negative? The sign flips. So we got to flip that sign around. And then we have an x because our numbers cancel. So that's a sloppy x. And then the sign flips again. 9 divided by negative 3 is negative 3. This is a compound inequality. So we're going to go to this little number line that I have down below. I'm placing a 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4. My 2 numbers that go in the number line, one of them is 0. The other one is negative 3. They are closed circles because it says equal to. And then anytime x is in the middle, you shade in the middle. So your answer is in the middle of negative 3 and 0. That's what a compound inequality tells you. The answer is in the middle of the 2 numbers that you have in your inequality. So if you look underneath, number 7 is almost the same thing. So you do the same part, same steps. But let's look at number 6, because number 6 is a compound inequality that has or. These are 2 inequalities that you're just going to solve. So I will solve these. Notice the x is not squished in between. It's just two totally different inequalities. So add 1, divide by 2. There's 1 inequality. The second one is totally different. So I have to do something different for that second one because the numbers are different. So I would subtract 4. I want to get x by itself. 14 minus 4 is 10. And then I'm still dividing by 2 because right now it's 2x. So let's divide by 2. 10 divided by 2 is 5. So this is an or inequality. Can I get on that number line? Let's put a couple numbers. I know I have to go up to 5. When it's or, instead of being in the middle, my answer is on the outside. So or is on the outside and is in the middle. So at negative 2, it says less than or equal to. So at negative 2, because of the equal to symbol, close circle. And then the arrow is pointing to the left. So we shade to the left. We shade to the outside when it's or. The other part says x is greater than 5. Greater than is an open circle because it doesn't have the equal to. And again, the arrow is pointing to the right. Well, I need to shade on the right or the outside. So or is outside and is in the middle. Questions? So now you have 2 of the 7 of those problems done. Hopefully those problems are pretty quick. Refresher there, it helped. The next group of problems wants you to tell if the ordered pair is a solution. And this is where you just need to check it. You're just going to plug it in. So we have an x and a y. So 3 times -2 minus 8 times 1 less than -14. That's how I check. I take my x, I plug it in. I take my y, I plug it in. We want to know, is that less than -15 or 14, sorry. So Nathan, 3 times -2. What is 3 times -2? -6. -8 times 1 is? -8. And -6 minus 8. Yeah. Is -14 less than -14? No, it's equal to it. But it just says less than. So if it's not true, then it's not a solution. Put a big no. -14 is not less than it. It's equal, but it doesn't say equal. So again, test the number. Is it true? The next group of problems then are the graphing problems. And why don't we circle, let's see, we'll circle the even ones. So let's circle 12, cross off 13, 14, cross off 15, circle 16, cross off 17, and then we'll circle 18 and 20. So we'll do the even ones of those graphs. So again, we did the even problems. We circled 12, 14, 16, 18, and 20 of those graphs. And then the last type of problem is another check to decide if it's a solution. So we'll check this one together, yeah. So all of those graphs are just like the graphs we've been working on. The first 2, you're just getting y by itself and graphing 1 line. And then the other problems that we circled, you're graphing 2 and shading that overlapping region. So number 12. -y is less than -3x minus 1. Dividing by a negative means flip the sign and we end up with 3x plus 1. So that's number 12 there. So you graph 1 line and you shade. Those are a lot easier because it's just 1 line that you're graphing. So I would plot a point at 1, move up 3, over 1, down 3, backwards 1. It says greater than, dashed sign, 1 line, greater than, go to a point and go above the point, and then that whole area you're shading. Those should be hopefully a little easier than what we've been working on. So number 14, you would do exactly the same thing. Number 16 is when I need to graph 2. And then 18 and 20 are like we did yesterday, where you're graphing 3. And then the last 2 you have to check to, or the last 3 you have to check to see if it's a solution. So I would have 3 minus 1 is less than 3. 2 is less than 3. That is true. 2 is definitely smaller than 3. This is 21. I got to check the second one because if it works for one, I need to see does it work for the other one. Y is 1. 2 is 3. Is 1 less than 3? Yes, 1 is also less than 3. That works. So then it's a big yes. It's a solution. So you should be able to get this worksheet done or really close to being done because you have almost 20 minutes left. And you do not have 23 problems to do. We took out half of the graphs. And I did some with you. So we have 2, 4, 6, 10. Looks like 14 more problems to do. 20 minutes. You can use this worksheet on your quiz tomorrow. You could split your screen. As you're taking the quiz, you can have this worksheet on the other side of the screen so you can kind of see how to work through the problems. And then you're going to submit this as a homework assignment. But it should definitely help you with the quiz. So please ask if you have questions. I want to be able to answer any that you have. Get as many as you can done in class.